everybody, and welcome to the Game Talk podcast for November. And by the way, happy Halloween if you're celebrating Halloween. I'm recording this on the 31st of October, so if you've been out guising, or you are guising today, or you're going out guising later on this week, or whatever, then happy Halloween. Unfortunately, I am on my own tonight because I've been deserted by my own team. They're away doing things, so I'm left alone to come up with a short podcast for you all. We'll run through some of the games coming out this month. Just before I do that, of course, I'll run through what I've been up to. So obviously, we've played a bit of Discounty again. I just keep going back to that. It's quite a comfort game. Just keep going into it and playing it for an hour or so. So that's always fun. I finished Crime Scene Cleaner. I mentioned that before. Played that. I picked that one up on Xbox Game Pass. It's alright. It's not great. I wouldn't pay full price for it. It's when I first started the game, it was, I was kind of liking it because it's quite an interesting concept, one that we've not really seen before, where you clean crime scenes. There's some extra goodies, there's some tapes to collect of secrets in each level and things, so that was a nice touch. The sort of upgrading system is nice, so you can upgrade your mop and upgrade the size of your bucket and the strength of your sponge and all that stuff, so that was kind of nice. But the fact that you can do it during a mission was, it was fine, but then if you forgot before you started, then you were stuck with it, and that was annoying. But the fact that they had that, it was nice, and then it was quite well fleshed out. There were a few different upgrade options to choose, and obviously you got achievements for picking them all up. The game itself is 10 missions long, or 10 chapters long, or split into chapters. Each one getting longer, obviously. They don't necessarily get more difficult, they just get longer and bigger. I did all 10, finished the story. After you finish the story, you unlock a sort of challenge mode, which isn't really a challenge mode as we would think of it. It's more of a go back, play it, see how quickly you can do it, collect all the goodies kind of mode. Didn't bother with that because I couldn't be bothered going back through all over again. Done it. The game also has like a sort of flimsy storyline underneath. The story reserves on the main character, which is who you play. And you obviously become a crime scene cleaner, and it also revolves around his family, his daughter, his marriage, and so on. I won't spoil it, but the ending is a bit anticlimactic. It's like you end up working for a gangster, and the inevitable happens. But you never actually hear anything about his wife or his daughter or reconciling his marriage or anything like that. So that was a little bit disappointing. So I got some decent gameplay of it. I won't be revisiting it or buying it anytime soon. But yes, I've done that, completed that. I tried the Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Reason being is that it's coming to PlayStation. And when they announced that, I immediately thought, and other people thought, how's this going to work with a controller? So I decided to try it out. And the answer simply is not very well. They don't seem to have thought it through quite right. The main buttons are there, for starting your engine, stopping your engine, left, whatever. But a lot of your sort of secondary buttons aren't mapped to the controller. Things like airfoils and lights and so on. Now obviously you can map them yourself, but the fact that the game doesn't have them built in for you is a bit of a drawback. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then obviously the fact, for me at least, the fact that there's so many buttons, I simply can't remember what they all do, what they are. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then also looking in the options menu didn't really narrow it down because there's so much that is a map. You're just looking at rows and rows and rows of blank boxes. That was disappointing. So I tried that once or twice, I did manage to take off, crashed the plane, and I just abandoned it, uninstalled it. I wasn't pleased with that. Only other game I've really played this month is Lost in Random. I got that from the EA Play app thing, which is included with your Xbox Game Pass subscription. It's quite a good little game, quite a good little ARPG thing. It's based around the sort of dices and chance. So you play a little character who looks like a puppet. And basically at the start of the game, her sister gets stolen, and your job is to go and basically find your sister, bring her home. And in the game, there's lots of dice and weird numbers and things. I think it's a sort of play on the title. And after a while, you gain this sort of dice partner. This dice has legs. It can do things for you. So I thought it was quite a good idea. It was quite a good little game. I'm quite enjoying it. It's not too stressful. It's not too difficult. The combat system isn't brilliant. Basically, what happens is a lot of the time you have a catapult and a stone, and the idea is that an enemy will have a weak spot, which is like a blue shiny bit. You hit this blue shiny bit, and you get crystals in order to power up your sort of deck. You get a deck of cards to use to attack. But you need so many crystals to activate that deck. So one attack, two attacks, and enough. So you're basically going through hitting this blue spot once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whatever. Sending the dice in to get the crystals because you can't get close enough or it'll hit you. And then obviously the dice come back, get your deck, and you get some cards, but some of the cards are quite weak. Like, you get one for a sword, but it's not very strong. Obviously, you can upgrade it later on, but at the start of the game, it's not very strong. You get another one for bow and arrow, and that's the same problem. You also get one for a potion, which is useful if you're losing health, obviously. But it's not a very strong potion. You only get 5 or 10 health, which again can be upgraded later in the game. But, you know, at the start of the game, if you're really struggling and you need health, it doesn't really help you. So it feels a bit unbalanced in that respect, but oh well. But the game itself very good. What I would say about it though, there was a game called Lost in Random, The Eternal Dice. That was a sort of spin-off and not an actual sequel. This what basically happened. The original developers of Lost in Random were bought over by, it was either Embracer Group or Thunderful, one of the two. And the IP was acquired by another company who made Lost in Eternal Dice, so it's a kind of unsolicited spin-off, if you like. It's not an official follow-up. But yeah, there you go. Lost in Random. It's good. Like, if it was, 25 quid or something, I'd probably buy it. But if it was more than that, I wouldn't buy it. And I say that because I haven't looked at it. I'm obviously playing it for free at the moment. So that's what I've basically been doing this month. The other thing is, it was my birthday on Monday. Happy birthday me. I turned 32, believe it or not. And I got the Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 remake. I played it at that. I spent a few hours doing the first game. I haven't delved into the second game yet. The first game is quite good. It's like a fully 3D Mario, which is good. I like it. I like the design and the voices, the sound design, the colours and everything. It's very nice. It's quite a big world. It's quite fleshed out. There's 7 worlds involved. I think right, there's 7 or 8 or something like that. They've got various missions in each world, and each mission's got 3 stars, so you can play it 3 times. So there's a lot of gameplay in it. 2 things I'm not so keen on. The first thing is that it's 3D, but the world kind of moves with you. So if you're walking around a planet, for example, it moves with you in the opposite direction. So that can be a bit off-putting. And then the other thing is that there's a sort of a weird fixed camera angle. So instead of having like a free camera where you can move it to the right and move to the left, look around you, the camera is fixed on manual. And you can pivot it, but you can't actually see all the way to the left, if that makes sense. So it's a bit of a strange Strange one, but it does work. Apart from that, I've been having a lot of fun with that. The Mario games are always good fun, so I've been doing that. Like I say, the rest of the guys are away this month, which is a shame, because I know they've got things to talk about, but we'll just have to hear from them later on. Right, let's move on to a couple of games coming out this month. We'll just kind of quickly run through them. So, first of all, we've got sort of Exhibit A and sort of more important ones. Football Manager 26, that comes out on the 4th. Now, I used to play these football management games, sport management games. In the past, obviously, there was the FIFA career mode and things. I quite enjoyed them. But then I kind of went off them because it's just a time drain. And if you don't have a lot of time, like I do, because I'm working and doing things, obviously, then you just kind of fall out of it. And you prefer a quicker action or gameplay. Well, I do. So I stopped playing them a couple of years ago. It will also be the first time that it features full licensing for the entire Premier League. So that's good. It's also got leagues in the UAE, Egypt, Lithuania, and so on. So that'll be interesting. So that one's out on the 4th of November. Right, next one, and this is one I'm interested in. This is Anno 117 Pax Romana. This is another Anno game by Ubisoft Mines, I don't know how you pronounce it. Anno is one of the more successful Ubisoft franchises, at least I think. They've been going for a while, obviously. I own Anno 1800, which is a brilliant game, brilliant RTS. Great story, great graphics, great gameplay, sound design. The buildings, just the way everything interacts, the UI, the menus, just everything was great. So this one, I'm really looking forward to it. I watched the trailer, it looks excellent. It looks along the same lines of 1800, but obviously slightly expanded. Pax Romana itself, obviously the time period which focused on sort of building your economy through trade and industrialization, things like that. So that's a very interesting time and a very interesting period of time to base a game on. So I'm looking forward to that. I watched the trailer, like I say, it looked fantastic. I want to see more about this. I'm like, oh, I like a good RTS game, as you know. And this is the next one in the Anno series, but also in the general RTS franchise. I want to see more of this one. I'm not sure if I'll buy it right away. I'm not keen on buying games full price. And then obviously Ubisoft has a history, shall we say, of releasing lots of DLC packs as well. So I'm not so keen on that. Especially with Anno 1800, they did like a season approach where you had like season 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think there was a 5th one, and each one was about 20-25 quid, and it contained a bunch of content, which is great. But then obviously if you won them all, it's like 100 quid, and that's not something I'm willing to do. But yeah, in terms of the game, Anno 117 Pax Romana, I'm really looking forward to that one and seeing more about it. That one's out on the 13th of November. Right, next one, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'm not really interested in this, but Johnny said I had to mention it because it's a AAA game, people will buy it, yada yada. It's obviously another first-person shooter. It looks decent. I watched the story trailer, it looks quite good. However, gameplay-wise, I can't really comment because I haven't played a Call of Duty game in years. I'm not really an FPS fan, but I have had a go over the years. I've played things like Battlefield. I did try things such as Delta Force. And I've tried third-person one, Just Cause. I used to play. I've got Spec Ops: The Line as well. So I have done it. But I'm not really a fan of those sort of games. I think this is going to be the first Call of Duty, I think I'm right in saying, that'll be on the Xbox Game Pass. So that should be interesting. We'll see how that affects the player numbers. And it'll also be on the PlayStation as well. Obviously for the money for bringing people in, Which, considering how much these games cost to make now, and how much people like to talk about development costs, publishing costs, and the fact that Xbox aren't really doing exclusives anymore, it's like, not really a surprise. I look at the state the game's in now, in terms of, they've added like hundreds of coloured skins and zombies and, funny guns and multiplayer mods and anti-cheat, all that stuff, and it just kind of dilutes from the gameplay experience a bit. Like, I'm not a big fan of FPS, like I say anyway, but I just feel like it's kind of lost its way a bit. I know a lot of people were looking forward to Battlefield 6 because they were looking for a new shooter to play, essentially. Whether that's working, I don't know, but I think that's kind of the reason is because Call of Duty's not really what it was. It used to be known as the sort of military shooter, realistic military shooter, and now it's not really. I mean, it's still got good bits, it still looks good and plays well, but I'm not sure it's like, I don't know how to phrase it. Like, to me, when I was on PlayStation 2, 3, it felt like Call of Duty had a massive lead in terms of shooters. Everyone knew what Call of Duty was, everybody bought it, everybody played it. Nowadays, that's not quite the case. I mean, a lot of people still know of it, and people buy it. It sells a lot of copies, but I feel like it's not the game it once was, the powerhouse it once was. But that's just my opinion. But this one does have a few tricks up its sleeve, though. So the entire campaign is going to be playable for up to 4 players, so it can be done single player or multiplayer. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's also going to be the first game in the system to feature an experience crossover system. So the experience points you gain in multiplayer also count towards your experience upgrades in single player. So that was quite a cool touch. And then also the story in the game takes place right after Black Ops 2. So there's kind of a nice tie-in going on there. Anyway, yeah, so if you want to buy it, that's out on the 14th of November. Final one I just want to mention this month, Terminator 2D No Fate. This one was meant to be out at, I think it was the end of September, 31st September, I think it got pushed back. I think we spoke about it a little bit at the time. I may have deleted it, I can't remember, I do apologise. But it's sort of a 2D Terminator game. It's based on the second film, so sort of tie that into the title, 2D. I've watched the trailer for it, it looks very good. I might get it. The Terminator games are always good fun. Terminator, obviously, a big movie franchise. Moving it into 2D, I mean, it looks good. It looks like it works, like a side scroller with a bit of combat, a bit of not so much darkness, but like an eeriness to it. So I kind of like the way they've done it. Like I say, they pushed it back, so they've had a bit more time to work on it. So hopefully that'll ensure it's a bit smoother than it would have been before. But yeah, 2D games are always fun. I think you look back at some of the 2D games that come out this year, obviously Hollow Knight, Silk Song, for example. Brilliant game. They're always really, really successful. Not necessarily because it's a follow-up, just because it's a really, really good game. Like, I've recently been playing some of the old Steam World games, the 2D ones, and they're really, really good fun as well. Not because Steam World's the best franchise in the world, just because it's a really cool game. Like, the characters in the 2D and the sort of way they move about, and it makes you think differently to a 3D game, and it's just really, really good. So, like I say, this one I've watched, I've watched the film, I've also watched the trailer for the game, so I'm quite looking forward to it. So I might not buy it on release, but I'll definitely watch someone play it because I'm eager to see more of these things. But yeah, so if you're interested in that one's out on the 26th of November. Right, let's move on to a couple of games coming out. We've got something here called The Last Caretaker. Now, this one's in early access, but it's coming out on the 6th of November. It's getting its full release. This one is a sort of action-adventure, first-person open-world action-adventure game. So it describes itself as a first-person survival crafting adventure. So basically, you battle rogue machines across this relatively empty world. It has some cool elements where you have to interact with the environment. And obviously there's upgrades and things. It looks great graphically. It looks really, really good. The fact that the world is almost empty is kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like this big empty environment. So I'm like, that's great if you've created a kind of an aura, so to speak. But if it's just an empty hallway, then it's going to be a bit of a letdown. So I think that could be interesting to see how they deal with that. But some of the scenes here look fantastic. There's an oil rig, and there's a rocket taking off and things. You can sail on a ship and things as well. It looks really cool. There's warehouses, so it almost makes me feel like it's taking the environments from like a Battlefield game or something. Battlefield games of old, where you were on like an oil rig or a big warehouse complex or something. But instead of having hundreds of players shooting you and things blowing up, you just kind of travel across it and kill some robots, which is actually quite chill when you think about it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But that one's out on the 6th. That's the full release, so it's in early access now. It's getting the full release on the 6th of November. Right, next one, and I quite like the idea behind this. This one's called Void Train. Now this one is another one of those kind of indie multiplayer things which we're seeing a huge boom in. This one's also in early access. It's getting its full release on the 7th of November. Now basically what it is it's a multiplayer game for up to 4 people where you become a member of an interdimensional train. So a train in space. And the idea is you're a member of the crew on that train. You can leave that train to harvest resources, to upgrade your train, to fight enemies, to grab treasures and so on. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of games like Repo and Lethal Company, which me and the boys have been playing over the past several months. It's like a new idea where you're on the train, like because obviously it's in space. There's things like gravity to worry about, and things like weapons floating away, enemies being able to shoot you from weird positions. So it's quite a cool idea. I'm definitely keen to check that out. It gets the full release on the 7th of November. That one's also going to be on the Xbox as well. It is going to have the cross-play as well. So if you want to play it on the Xbox and your friends on PC or something, then yeah, so be it. But yeah, 7th of November for that one. Right, next one is called Lumines. Is it Lumines Arise? Lumines Arise. Lumine? Now, Lumine was a game from, I think I pronounced that right, Lumine. It was a game from a long time ago. Was created by a chap called Tetsuya Mizuguchi. And he created the first one in 2004. It's basically a puzzle game, like a 2.5D puzzle game, and basically it's been remade, remastered, spun off several times. So he made the original game, which was called Lumine's Puzzle Fusion, for mobile devices. It was on PSP, it was on your mobile phone, and then eventually came to PlayStation 2 PC as well. And then obviously there was other ones, Lumines Live, Lumines 2, Supernova, Touch Fusion, Electric Symphony, Puzzle Music, Remastered, was in 2018. This one's Lumines Arise, and it's a full remake of the game for the PlayStation and the PC. So it's a full remake of the original Lumines game. It's done by the same folk who did the Pac-Man Repacked. So that was a successful game. So this is a success, as successful as that was. But yeah, like I say, that one is out on the 11th. That was on the PlayStation 5 as well as the PC. Right, next one is Possessors, or Possessor, S. So this one is basically an anime style side scroller. So it's done like a Ratatouille cartoony type art style in a fast paced 2D side scroller. So it looks really good fun. Where it actually is, I'm not sure. I'm sure Pook will play it and tell us. It's another Devolver Digital title, and they always seem to release good stuff. So yeah, high hopes for this one. It looks good fun. So it looks very good. So I'm looking forward to that one. So like I say, I'll watch other people play that and see what they think. That one's out on the 11th of November. Right, next one is called Rue Valley, and this looks like something I might actually play. This one is a sort of narrative RPG about a chap trapped in a time loop. So it's got the kind of time loop element from games like Outer Worlds, and it combines it with sort of gameplay and art style. You think of things like Disco Elysium, so it looks a bit like games like that. So it's a really interesting game. Like, it's gentleman trapped in a time loop. So he sets off on a sort of adventure to uncover the kind of origins about what's going on. There's a demo for it as well. I'll definitely be trying the demo because it looks like a really interesting game, and I'd like to find out more about it. So that one's out on the 11th as well. Right, next one is called Rensport, and as you might imagine, it's a racing game. Now, if Dunk was here, I'm sure he'd tell us about how great it looks and how he's going to buy it and all that stuff. It's already on PC, so he's probably been playing it, but this is it coming to console. Now, Rensport is, well, it describes itself as the future of racing simulation games. It's a little bit like games like Gran Turismo and The Crew, where you've got to edit your car and customise dials and everything before you start a race. It's similar to games that he's already played, such as the Assetto Corsa as well. Like I say, it's already on PC, it's come to console. The PC version has extremely mixed reviews. It came out in December last year, and since then, it's basically all mixed, all reviews are mixed. Graphically, it looks fantastic. It's got lots of visualised cars, visualised tracks and things. But whether it runs smoothly, how good it is to play, whether it's better than other games, I can't really say. It looks very good. I gave up on the racing game years ago, to be honest. I used to play not so much the detailed ones like Rensport, it's of course some lighter arcade ones, you know, like Need for Speed Midnight Club, things like that. But I gave up on them a long time ago. These obviously sort of stopped doing some of them. A lot of them became a lot more serious. Things like The Crew came out, which, you know, I gave a go, but I didn't like it. I thought there was too much editing your car involved. A bit like, it almost felt like a simulator at times. You know, you're the like, instructor. You've got to tinker with your car before the drivers are allowed in or whatever. So I didn't really have time to think into that. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, just not for me. But anyway, Rensport, the next recent game, 13th of November for that one. Right, next one looks really interesting actually. This one's called Where Winds Meet, and it's a Wuxia open world action adventure game. So it's set in ancient China, Chinese mythology in the 10th century, so a bit of history, Chinese history going on there. So basically what happens, you play as a young sword master, and obviously you'll progress your sword skills as you go on. Basically what happens is you set off on a journey to, it's almost like a journey of self-discovery. You've got to find out your own identity, is what it says. But yeah, Wuxia RPG, it says it's going to be free to play as well, which is always interesting. It does have online co-op. I'm not sure how that's going to work as well. It kind of looks like it's taken elements from all the sort of good RPGs that we know of and put them into one game. So you've got the kind of action wheel from The Witcher 3, although it's obviously not for spells. And then obviously you've got swords from games like Tekken, Soul Calibur, like a 2D Basham game. You've also got what looks like creatures from Skyrim, you end up with giant bears and things which will fight with your sword. You can set things on fire, run across the grass, all that fancy stuff. Your various power-ups, you can run through the water, battle in the water. Obviously, you've got the sort of lovely Asian backdrop going on as well. But it's really got a lot to offer, so I'm looking forward to this one. Like I say, it is free to play, so I'll probably play it. So, but yeah, that one is, like I say, free to play. Luxia RPG, which is a Chinese, I think I'm right in saying it's a period of history. So yeah, lovely Chinese historical game. That one is going to be on the consoles as well, and it does have the online co-op. Oh, how that's going to work, I'm not entirely sure. That one's out on the 14th of November. Anyway, just a quick shout out to Escape from Tarkov. That one's coming to PC this month. It comes on the 15th of November. Obviously, it's already on console, and it's hugely successful as an extraction shooter. It's come to PC on the 15th, like I say. In the videos, it looks like it's been upgraded. The graphics look a lot sharper, the gunplay looks a lot smoother. Whether that comes to pass, I guess depends on your system, your internet connection, all that stuff. Like I say, I'm not a shooter fan. Andy's more of the extraction shooter guy. I'm sure he'll be playing this if he doesn't already own it. It looks good fun. They've done a good job with the lighting, obviously. When you're outside, it's light during the day. And then when you go inside, there's lots of your dingy lighting, broken light bulbs flashing, or dark areas, or maybe there's a vehicle lit up with the headlights on or whatever. So they've done very good in that regard. But the rest of the game, I think I'm right in saying just your classical kind of extraction shooter. It's not particularly interesting. But yeah, Escape from Tarkov, hugely successful extraction shooter, so people will probably buy that on the PC. 15th of November for that one. Right, 2 more to go. This one's called Demon School. Now, this one is it's a mashup of various genres. So, art style looks a bit like a Hotline Miami or something. The game describes itself as a turn-based JRPG, but it's also a sort of university simulator. You're basically a university student who's a demon, and you basically play in between worlds where you've got to navigate university life on an island, and you've also got to, fight hordes of enemies and go off on your adventures and yada yada. So it's quite an interesting blend of gameplay systems. Like I say, it looks a bit like a Hotline Miami game, like old arcade games things. I think it's styled to look like that. It looks very good. The fact that it's turn-based, I mean, turn-based games can be kind of hit or miss. Like, they're not bad. It depends on the rest of the game. But yeah, check out that one. Demon School, that one's out on the 19th of November. Last one, I just want to shout out Stalker 2, releasing on the PlayStation 5, finally. Obviously, it was Xbox exclusive at launch, and now Stalker 2 Heart Chernobyl is on the PlayStation, or will be soon coming out on the 20th of November. I'm sure people on PlayStation will be buying that one. How well it's done on the Xbox, I mean, it's difficult to tell. It was on Game Pass, so it was like they didn't make as much money as I wanted, but it also gave them time to add patches and address player concerns and things. So hopefully, the PlayStation buyers will get the best version of the game, but who can say at this point? But yeah, Stalker 2 Heart Chernobyl out on the PlayStation 5 on the 20th of November. Right, that's all I have for this month. Just before I go, I'd like to apologise. I'd like to apologise because a few months ago, YouTube, or YouTube podcast, or whatever you want to call it, they started to read the RSS feed from my host. Now, my host is Spotify. The podcast is hosted on Spotify. And what was supposed to happen is YouTube would follow that address and upload the podcast episode on their own. And that worked fine. Up to a point. It took me a while to work this out, but each time it uploads an episode, it sets it to private by default. And obviously, if it's set to private, then nobody except us can see it. So I'd like to apologise if you've been looking on YouTube and not been able to find the episodes. That's why. I've made sure to set them to public now as soon as they upload. Hopefully there's a setting somewhere I can change, but if I can't, I do apologise. For the ones in the past and then also probably the ones in the future that are set to private, I do apologise for that. Right, I think that's everything for this month. We will be back next month with a slightly more Christmassy edition. Hopefully we'll have a full-strength team as well. Remember to check out all the podcast stuff of the episodes on Spotify. You can try them on YouTube, but they might not be there. Check them out on Spotify. Remember to check out the Twitch channels. You've got me, GeographicCactus, then you've got High Arcade, Pokevision. I think that's the P on Twitch, I can't remember. And then you've got the Gamer Talks channel as well. You've also got the Gamer Talks email, so you can send questions. GamerTalksQuestions@gmail.com. So remember to send your questions there, either for us or for Johnny to do a challenge. He's not been doing many challenges lately, so maybe send him a challenge. And of course, don't forget to follow the page on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. Right, I'm going to go. Thank you for listening, and we will be back soon.